Mary Catherine, how are you?
Hello, I'm all right. How are you doing?
Good. I want to know if you've listened to any of the oral arguments in Mahmoud versus Taylor yet from Montgomery County.
Yes, I have. I did not listen to all of them, but I have listened to excerpts.
They're very, very amusing. Do you think Montgomery County is in for an awakening?
I have a feeling yes, and it struck me as I was listening that the lawyer for the Montgomery County Schools is talking to Gorsuch and saying like, well, yeah, it's this book Pride Puppy, and we put it for 3-year-olds in the English course, and then yeah, there was leather that you had to point to, and yeah, there was a drag queen, but like he's stipulating various types of leather and what have you, and I just thought to myself, these are the scraps of sanity that American parents in liberal towns have to go to the Supreme Court to get, right? Like just the idea that you could just opt out of having your kid identify the leather in the Pride Puppy Parade book. It's just insanity.
It is. We're going to talk during the break about this insanity, but I must say, when Neil Gorsuch said he'd gone to second grade, I don't believe that, Mary Catherine. I don't think he went to second grade. I think he was born fully formed as an 18-year-old, and then he went to college. But we'll come back and talk about that during the break. Don't go anywhere. Mary Catherine's going to stick around with me, and then we'll be back on the other side of this, and we'll put it all up, because we got to talk about what Montgomery County, the madness of Montgomery County. Stay tuned, America.
Portions of the Hugh Hewitt Show are brought to you in part by the American Legislative Exchange Council. Visit alec.org for more info.
I am back with Mary Catherine Ham. Mary Catherine, I want to play a little bit more of the oral argument yesterday. This was Justice Kavanaugh. So let's give a little listen to cut 21.
For any reason.
And then last point, just a comment, and you can respond to it as you want. But Maryland was founded on religious liberty and religious tolerance, a haven for Catholics escaping persecution in England. Going back to 1649, I'm sure you're aware of this history. And Montgomery County has been a beacon of that religious liberty for all these years, with a strong Catholic population, a substantial Jewish population, lots of different Protestant. I mean, you drive down any Connecticut Avenue or George Avenue, you see religious building after religious building. And I guess I'm surprised, given that this is the hill we're going to die on, in terms of not respecting religious liberty given that history. And so when history comes up, I just want to give you a chance to respond to how you situate that in Maryland and Montgomery County's history.
Every school board walks a tightrope, as this court has recognized and other courts have recognized. It's a difficult job balancing the interests of a diverse community. Montgomery County Public Schools are the most religiously diverse in the country. There may be different ways to handle this under other circumstances. Montgomery County did its best under these circumstances, given their curricular goals. That seems to me a fundamentally different question, and it's an important one, but it is a fundamentally different question about whether there's a constitutional right to opt your child out of curriculum that you deem religiously offensive.
Thank you. It's a tough case to argue. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, Mary Catherine, what do you think that last line means?
Yeah, I don't think they're friendly to his arguments. Also, it's a religiously diverse community, and all the religious communities, diverse though they are, have come together. Jews, Christians, Protestants, Catholics, Muslims, to object to this particular thing. And one of the things the lawyer for the Montgomery County Schools argues is that an opt-out was really tough because so many people wanted to opt out. And I just wonder at some point, maybe the school district should be like, maybe it's us and not them. Could it be us and not them? And they didn't admit that, and they had to go to the Supreme Court to be told that, hopefully.
Do you think that guy's ever, I really don't know. We got 10 seconds. Do you think that lawyer's been before the court before?
I don't know. I mean, it's rarefied air up there, so I commend him for being brave enough to do it to begin with, but I wouldn't want to do it with that case.
No, it's not brave. Usually, I don't know. Maybe he's an experienced Supreme Court bar, but usually you hand those off so you don't step in it on that many rakes. I'll be right back with Mary Catherine.
Hugh Hewitt Show returns in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, America. Mary Catherine Ham is still with me. Mary Catherine, I listened to half your podcast this morning with a similar education advocate to you who found the COVID closures to be obscene and obviously so as they were occurring as the scholarship mounted up. This is the Montgomery County problem. This is the Anthony Fauci, Francis Collins problem. This is the problem of Harvard. It's the ivory tower problem, which is don't pay any attention to what you see. Listen to us. And, you know, it's not working. What did you come up with the term? We're living in the explain yourself era?
The explain yourself era, yes. Look, I think Tyler Cowen wrote for the Free Press about expertise and the elite class and how, you know, elitism is not something to be hated, and it requires intellectual inquiry and open inquiry and truth seeking. And I said, like, he was kind of using it to excuse expertise and the elite class during COVID and say that they mostly got a lot of things right. And I would say, yes, elite intellectualism does require all those things. And I didn't find any of them in the sanctioned elite almost. It was a very few dissenters who really were looking at the evidence and were being courageous enough to say that they were seeing something different and should come to different conclusions, and that schools and freedom and the ability to practice your religion was important. So they've lost all this trust because they were not only wrong, but they were rude to everyone else and socially pressured everyone else who was right. And then they lied to cover their butts. Like it's a three-pronged loss of trust here. And they continue to try to sort of rewrite what happened during that time. And you can't rewrite it because the damage is still visible, especially when you look at schools and learning loss.
And you can't rewrite the history of Montgomery County. The fact, as you said, everyone came together. They did not want their little children to be doing this curriculum for one reason. And the court, the poor guy, as Dwayne said, he probably didn't get back to a lot of high fives at the office when he turned in. But I just think it was a roundhouse that was bound to happen because it's so obviously oppressive of religious preference.
Well, and I think you have a liberal bubble problem in all these areas where a lot of people get the impression that, like, of course we're right. Of course we're doing the correct thing. We're the good people. And that's their line of reasoning. But that line of reasoning doesn't cut it at the court when you have to argue about first principles. And perhaps, although I've heard worse, perhaps you're right that he should have passed it off to somebody.
Yeah, well, I want one more question for Mary Catherine Ham, but we're going to run out of time and go into the break. So I'll ask it during the break and we'll post it over. Don't forget, go and sign up for Mary Catherine and Vic Mattis's podcast. And what's the second podcast, Mary Catherine?
I do Normally with Carol Markowitz.
And
we cover education.
Go sign up for Normally as well as for Getting Hammered. And follow Mary Catherine on X at MK Hammer. I'll be right back, America. Dr. Oren from Israel starts the hour, but I'm talking with Mary Catherine about Harvard and Bob Jones during the break. So make sure you go to my YouTube channel to hear that, because I have no idea what Mary Catherine is going to think about bringing down the Bob Jones hammer on Fair Harvard. So we'll find out during the break and post it at YouTube. Stand by.
Portions of the Hugh Hewitt Show are brought to you in part by Consumer Cellular.
I can. Okay. Does it interfere with the taping? Okay. Welcome back with Mary Catherine Ham. Mary Catherine, I have no idea what my engineers are trying to tell me. We may go up and down here for a moment. But I would like to ask you, Bob Jones University in South Carolina lost its tax-exempt status in 1983 in a case that divided the fifth floor at DOJ right before I got there, between the people who thought free exercise ought to protect Bob Jones and those who thought, no, you can't violate the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and not allow mixed racial marriage students into the campus. The latter won. Well, that precedent is still there, and today's Wall Street Journal doesn't want to apply it to Harvard. Where are you in that debate? I want it applied to Harvard.
Well, I think logically, doesn't it apply to Harvard? I mean, that's my question. On the facts, tax exemption is something that the government has quite a bit of control over. And if you go by the Bob Jones precedent, it does seem to me that Harvard, you could easily argue, as it's been found in courts already, that Harvard has been discriminating on the basis of race against several groups and violating all sorts of rules in this way. I think perhaps the administration should have gone down this path instead of sending that letter in the first place.
Well, it's a demand letter. And I point people back. Before the administration sent the letter, Alan Garber, the president of Harvard, did this rather pompous open letter on March 31st called Our Resolve. And it's, we got an anti-Semitism problem. We know it. We admit it. We're working on it. Trust us letter. And, we trusted them on admission. It's my alma mater. They're just breaking the law left, right, and center. Why would we ever trust, and this goes back to the same issue as during COVID, why would we trust elite institutions to see, much less to remedy their ills?
Yeah, we don't trust them because they're not trustworthy. And further, they think the things that they have done that are, by definition, discriminatory, they think those things are morally good and therefore worth having discriminated. That's the problem, right? They think it's good. It's the good kind of discrimination if it's against Asian students because you're trying to increase other minority populations. It's an okay kind of discrimination because you're just discriminating against Jews on behalf of an oppressed people, and that is okay. I mean, that is a lot of the thought process at these elite institutions, which, again, as I noted, I don't think do open inquiry and truth-seeking very well, and they sort of give themselves a bunch of pats on the back and attaboys. And I think, as you point out, that perhaps Harvard is in the wrong when it comes to the Bob Jones standard. I think courts have found that.
They are, and I've got 2,500 words going to Fox News tomorrow about that. Mary Catherine, I heard a small in the background. So I will release you to go back to find out whether or not they found something else in the nursery to weaponize. Because those two are really... They're very, very ingenious, and I appreciate you bringing us up to getting hammered. Mary Catherine M., thank you.
Thank you.
Hugh Hewitt Show on the